Hi, welcome to the web overview of Cash In on Texas Foreclosure Workshop. My name is George Roddy Jr. and I am the lead instructor. Before I dive into the content, I wanted to make sure you know what Roddy.com has to offer. Number one, we show you how. We do this by educating you either through live or online courses. Our educational programs also offer you a wide range of resources to put this new knowledge to work. Number two, we do it with you. This is a higher level program. Besides just getting live and online education like number one, we add another key ingredient. That is coaching and support. We have found that when you have a coach, you will succeed much faster. And number three is we do it for you. This is where you get the 5 key elements of real estate investing. Those 5 key elements are this: education, resources, information, opportunities, and coaching. This is what we call our Roddy Real Wealth system. If you have any questions regarding these programs, what we do on a daily basis, please contact our office. So now that you know what we have to offer, let's learn about this foreclosure workshop. What is a foreclosure? Our definition of a foreclosure is the legal process by which a person or institution that is owed money can force the sale of a property. I wanted to go over the 6 different phases that are prior to, at the auction, and what happens to after. The first phase is origination. When someone buys a house, 99% of the time they need assistance from a lender or a loan. So that is where the origination of a loan occurs. Then they're making their payments, everything is great. Then in between current and default, stage 3 is where a hardship occurs. This could be a job loss, a divorce, things like that that cause the homeowner to miss a payment. That's when you're in phase 3, which you're in default. You're not in foreclosure, you're just behind 1 or 2 months. Now this continues here in the state of Texas. Most lenders will allow a borrower to go 6 to 8 months before they actually will post the property for foreclosure. In Texas, there's not a notice of default like there is in California. There is what's called a notice of sale. And stage 4 is pre-foreclosure. That is where everybody knows your neighbor hasn't, or everyone has the right to know that your neighbor hasn't been making mortgage payments to their lender. That's when it's basically what we call a foreclosure. When everybody knows about it, it's made public. Then 21 days later, it goes to an auction. And this is a public forum where anybody can attend. You don't have to pre-register. That is where the highest bidder, the lien is offered to the highest bidder on the courthouse steps. And typically the highest bidder on the courthouse steps, if you've ever been to a courthouse auction, you know what I'm about to say. The highest bidder 95% of the time is the lender. So what happens is the lender's representative, called a trustee, offers the property to the public at an auction. The public doesn't say anything, so the lender takes it back, and this is what turns into an REO, or real estate owned. Let's just summarize. Our definition of a foreclosure is when it's in stage 4 through 5. When it's made public and it's a pre-foreclosure all the way up to the courthouse steps. Now the relevancy of this workshop is Texas had over 100,000 properties posted for foreclosure last year. We believe it's more important than ever for investors and realtors to be knowledgeable about the Texas foreclosure process, which, as you probably already know, is different from state to state. What are you going to learn if you attend this workshop? First, you need to know the foundation, the process. So we'll go over the Texas Property Code section 51.002, which states when the leads have to be given to the county clerk, where, the time frames of the auction. Then we go over there's two different auctions that occur. This cash in on Texas foreclosure focuses on the non-judicial auction that occurs. That's called the trustee sale. There is also a judicial auction called a tax sale. The cash in on Texas foreclosures does not go into how to buy a Texas tax lien. That is a different strategy and different course that we offer. Now, what percentage is residential versus commercial? We're going to go over that. Well, I'll just tell you now, 90% of what is posted is residential, and then 10% is commercial or dirt. The relationship of the lender, trustee, homeowner, how they work together, how many options does a homeowner have? There's basically 5 options. We're going to explain in depth these 5 options and how you can monetize not just one strategy, but 4 out of 5 ways we're going to teach you to make money working with foreclosures. There's 9 different types of liens that are being foreclosed on, types of auctions. There's first lien mortgages, second lien mortgages, homeowners dues. There's 9 different liens, and you need to know the rules on which ones survive, which ones don't. And that leads me into the last bullet, which is survivorship of a lien or other encumbrances. Bottom line is, you need to know which liens survive the courthouse steps if you're going to buy on the steps. You definitely need to understand that all liens will survive prior to the auction. And what I mean by that is, if you find a homeowner that wants to sell the house and there's several liens on the property, we're going to show you how to create equity and close on that property instead of walking away like most investors that don't have the knowledge of this class will do. So that's the first step. The second is prospecting. Where do you find the posted properties? The availability of this data. How much does it cost if you don't want to go down to the courthouse and do the research yourself? How to examine the deed records and notices. We're going to explain that. Buying before the auction is contact the homeowner through mail, phone, face-to-face. We absolutely have an opinion on that topic. Negotiating the deals. We need to find out what their abilities versus their intent are. And then how to sit down and write a contract with specific contingencies that allow you to back out of the deal. So in essence, how to write a risk-free offer. And then how to discount loans to increase your profits. Should you pay off the mortgage or should you reinstate the mortgage? We're definitely going to go in depth and focus on those bullets. Buying at the foreclosure auction. Today I was at the courthouse. There was a auction today, and explaining how to find the trustee or the attorney that represents the lender. And probably the most important thing is how to organize your leads in an auction style sequence. A lot of these trustees, again, if you've ever been to an auction, you'll know this, but a lot of the trustees don't go in some chronological order or alpha order. So there's definitely a methodology on how to prepare for the auction. How to bid on the property. Who, when, how do I pay on the courthouse steps? We're going to go over that. Insuring the foreclosures, when to purchase the insurance binder, and then House Bill 2738, this Texas bill, requires immediate payment. What you need to understand is you don't have 30 days like other private auction companies. It's worse. You have less than 10 minutes to pay. So it's a little intimidating. We have to have our ducks lined up in a row. And then the last phase is buying after the auction, identifying which properties are going back to the banks and for how much. I think that is so useful in today's market. And then using this results, or the REO information, and analyzing that. Banks right now are doing what we call an instant short sale. And what I mean by this is there are banks right now that are hemorrhaging. They are taking back so many properties in Texas and across the nation for that matter, that they are discounting their opening bid on the courthouse steps.